Okay, folks, great to have your company. Thank you very much, everybody, for your attendance this evening down here at the Styrrup. Of course, we are looking forward to the prospect of a new season, a new dawn, a new era at Doncaster Rovers. And there's nothing new about these two gentlemen sat next to me this evening. It's been a great pleasure in welcoming our assistant manager and manager. Please welcome Byrne and McCann. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you very much indeed for your time tonight. It's a very, very busy period, obviously, pre-season. Grant, last year, 2018, 2019, and delighted to be back. I'm sure you'll agree.
Yeah, it's great to be here. It's great to see a full pub. We're really looking forward to the season ahead. We've been back about a week now. Players look good. We've been able to push them a little bit further than we anticipated, I would say. Everything's moving along nicely, and obviously the game's starting on Saturday, so it's great.
Obviously a big emphasis around Rossington today. Our first hit out is on Saturday. You'll be looking to utilise the majority of the squad, giving everybody some minutes on Saturday.
Yeah, I think, when you look at a pre-season schedule and plan, what is important is players get up to speed, and you don't force it. You've got to take it easy a little bit with them in terms of game minutes. So we'll try and get everyone 45 minutes on Saturday. One or two of the younger ones will be involved. One or two of the under 18s will be involved. So it's a really good game. It's going to be helpful for the village of Rossington, the football team, and hopefully everybody can make it and support the team.
Fantastic. Cliff, if I can just turn to you. Very warm welcome to you. If you can just thank you very much indeed. Are you really happy with the way the players have come back, condition-wise? They've all looked after themselves during the close season?
Yeah, it's been really pleasing. The appetite the players have shown over the opening week has impressed me. Surprised me in some aspects, because players try and just gently bring themselves into the game, but they've adhered to the off-season plan, and they've come back in really good nick and have shown that in the opening 6-7 days.
I suppose being two ex-professionals yourselves, it only does yourself favours if you come back in the right shape, because otherwise it's bloody hard work, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it just makes it a little bit difficult for us as a group then to keep pushing on. But like I say, credit to the group. They've all come back at a top level of fitness, and without the football fitness, they've kept themselves physically fit and enabled us to like the gaffer says, to push on this week sooner than we thought.
And there's been quite a lot of the existing squad that were in rehabilitation from quite long-term injuries. John Taylor, Tom Anderson obviously had the nickel with his back. How are they looking in pre-season? Do they look to have had a good rest and good rehabilitation?
Yeah, they have. Listen, that's more in the physio department, but near enough everybody's been out on the grass, whether they've taken full part in every bit of the session or with the group day in, day out, but everybody's on the grass, so it does help when the sun is shining and everyone comes back in. So I think they're all excited to get fit and make themselves available for the first game of the season.
Excellent. Grant, if I can turn to you, on the recruitment side there's been 8 new additions, a familiar face in Ian Lawler, extension to the contracts of Lewis Jones and Ben Bottomley, and integrating a lot of new faces in with the existing squad. It's a good sized squad that the club has now.
Yeah, I mean, I can't thank the club enough, really. The support that I've had over the summer, from Terry, from David, from Gavin. I'm only mentioning Gavin because he's here, to be honest with you. So.
Hi, Gavin.
No, yeah, it's been great. The recruitment's been great. We wanted to get things done early. When I was speaking to players in the summer, we set deadlines for them. They either wanted to come or they didn't. We wanted people to come and play for this football club, play for us, play for the time. And we were really pleased that we got the business done. We near enough got every first target we went after. Obviously, you're speaking about Ian Lawler. Lawsy was excellent when we were here the last time. He had a real good competition with Morosi. I think if you seem to remember, they both played half the season each. So I like what I've seen of Lewis Jones so far. The development of him over the last 3 or 4 years has been excellent. So it's a credit to the goalkeeping coaches, and young Ben Bottomley is impressing every day as well. So we feel we're strong in the goalkeeping department, and we feel we're strong in near enough every department so far.
I was saying to Gavin actually before you guys arrived, the strength in depth that we have, was certainly not there last season for one reason or another. But looking at the competition that we have for places, looking at Lewis Jones in training on the footage that we've seen online, it looks very, very good. The couple of opportunities he got last season, he certainly didn't let himself or the club down. So, that competition there with the youth and experience. One player I've got to bring up though, and I'd like to bring this up with Cliff if that's possible. Richard Wood, the signing from Rotherham United. Now, people will look at that and say he's quite senior in his years, but my goodness me, the experience he will bring, the ability of the player first and foremost, and the leadership that he will create within the team. I'm sure you'll agree with that.
Yeah, we've seen signs of that already in the opening week. Nothing that hasn't surprised us. It's what we'd expect from Richard in terms of his fitness and his ability to be available for training and game time was a big plus for us, and then the experience that comes in beyond that as well. But he hasn't shirked away from any of the hard work this week. There's no special treatment, anything like that. It was his birthday yesterday, so he's getting another year older, another year creakier. But it was credit to the gaffer and the football club. I knew, having conversations with the gaffer throughout the summer quite early on, he knew Richard was available. Down tools on a family break, and made sure he went and met him and headed everyone off straight away. And he showed the commitment that he wanted to come and play for us, play for the gaffer and play for the football club. So that was brilliant from us, and then it just sort of snowballed the rest of the signings from there on in, and we've been really pleased with everyone we managed to get.
And it's always that old adage, isn't it? The mix of youth and experience, and that's really, really important. This is, make no mistake about it, we saw it firsthand last season. This is a league which is never going to be the prettiest. You need really good, strong characters in there. You need a good physical presence in there. It's not always going to be pretty, but it's a matter of getting out of this league, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It doesn't matter which league that you're in. There's multitude of things you have to face. But I know you've touched on the experience, the youth. The biggest thing for us to encapsulate the whole group is the hunger. No matter what age you are, old, young, experienced, inexperienced, you've got to have that hunger within this group, because it's a demanding environment that we try and set to push on and be successful and try to perform at a high level. So all the groups sharing in that, and we'll only push them further on if we can.
Grant, I noticed obviously there's been a lot of recruitment on the field, certainly within the backroom staff. There's a reacquaintance with Lee Glover, who obviously you've worked with on several occasions before. Carl Leatheran's come in as the goalkeeping coach. We've also got a youth development phase coach in Lee Walshaw, and a certain James Coppinger, as the man who said he would never get into coaching, has taken his B licence and has appeared on the training ground a couple of days a week. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think that was one of the things we spoke about firstly, really, with Gavin, the board, Cliff, is making sure the staff is in place first, because without that, the players haven't got that to perform. So we felt we're strong in the physio department, we're strong in the sports science department. Obviously, when Ian Bennett left, we had an opportunity to bring in a goalkeeping coach, and Kyle Leatheran is somebody who I've worked with very closely playing at Barnsley. I've watched him grow over the years in terms of his coaching ability at Hartlepool. He's done quite a lot of work in the Barnsley Academy, and I know him quite well there. So he fits it. He fits what Cliff just mentioned there: the hunger to come in and get better and want to improve. Cops and Lee, it was a conversation with both of them about the roles that we want them to be a part of this season. When we spoke to Cops about the recruitment side, he was delighted. When we spoke about the coaching side of it as well, he was over the moon. He's had a lot on his shoulders, I think, over the last couple of years. So we wanted to take that back of him a little bit. We wanted to give him a wee bit more responsibility on the pitch, and he's been great. The first week he's been excellent. Glover's a top coach. Lee Glover's a top coach. He's obviously been with me before, here at Doncaster with us before on the recruitment side. So we're really pleased with the team that we've got behind the team, if that makes sense.
Just listening to you talk there, I'm feeling enthused. Everybody I've spoken to within the room are very enthused about, the recruitment on the field, the recruitment off the field as well. And it really does look like we're set up to have a really, really good go at this season. But make no mistake, there's some big teams in League Two, isn't there? And there's a lot of big money, you know, with the influx of the money at Wrexham and obviously Stockport from last season as well. How much of an eye did you have on it last season? Of course, when you're out of the game, you always try and keep involved and, you know, keep your finger on the pulse and go to many different games. But did you manage to get a look at League Two last season?
Yeah, I mean, you keep an eye. When you're at other clubs, you always watch other leagues anyway. You know, you mentioned big club. We're a big club.
Yeah.
We're a big club. So, them teams will be talking about us, let me tell you that. So, myself and Cliff, when we were speaking about coming back to Doncaster, and our remit was to come back here and get out of this league as quickly as we can, and that is what we're trying to do with the support of everyone behind us. Listen, there's going to be ups and downs, don't get me wrong. There's going to be times when we lose, but we've got to be calm, we've got to be patient with it. It's an interesting league, I would say. I think it's, you're right, there's a lot of people spending money in it, but it's not always about that. You know, I've got a good friend who has just moved to Swansea, Michael Duff at Barnsley. He won League Two on a £1.2 million budget. So it's what you have in your building, it's how you perform, it's how you train. So, you know, listen, we feel as if we've got a good squad, so hopefully we can be up and around it.
Yeah, another thing, it's having money, but it's how you spend money as well, which is very important with the recruitment and such forth. Okay, well, I think I've spoken enough. I think, you know, the idea of tonight is to give the fans a voice, as we always try and do at Doncaster Rovers. So now is your chance. If you've anything on your chest, if you've anything you would like to ask Cliff and Grant this evening, now is your time to raise your hand. Pluck up the courage. And I'm not seeing much courage at the moment. I'm not seeing any hands up, to be quite honest with you. Who's going to get us going with the first question of the night? Right, gentleman over here. Wait till we get the mic on you. What's your name, sir? Who's your question for?
Do you have any plans now who are going to be your first team?
Oh, that was my question.
Possibly. I mean, I tell you, it's what's nice is pre-season always tends to surprise you a little bit. You know, someone who is maybe not in your head at the minute to start the first game probably comes on to the scene, onto the picture, and takes pre-season by storm. So that is what pre-season's for. We feel we're strong in every position. I do believe we need one more in the attacking area, which we're trying really hard to get. Which we need to be a little bit calm and patient with, but we'll get it. I'm not happy unless I get it, so we will get there. But I would say probably 80 to 90% sure in terms of what we're doing, but I think there'll be some of them who will surprise us, if that makes sense.
Right. You nearly answered my second question. You said we're after another front man. Who is this?
Can't knock him for asking.
No, yeah. Listen, I like the fact you've asked me, but it's very hard. He's at another football club at the minute, so it's hard to speak about somebody else's player. So it's we're trying our best. It's, you know, there's quite a few players quite a few clubs after him. So and it's about timing, I think, on that one.
Right. Thanks for that.
Probably not Mbappe, even though he's on a free next summer, but we'll wait and see. Right, next question from this gentleman. What's your name?
It's Mark, Grant. Grant, I'm a massive fan of George Miller. I thought he had a cracking start, especially pre-season. Last season he started well. Lee Tomlin were here. He had the service, I thought, when we started the season. Obviously, Lee obviously left. I didn't think we got the ball into him. He didn't get the service. I think George could be one of the best strikers in League Two. Have you got plans to get the ball into him, get crosses in? Is that something you're looking at to feed the strikers?
I think we're quite fortunate that we've got two very good number 9s. One young lad that's coming and breaking into the scene at the minute in Goodman. I'm really pleased with the different dynamics on both. Joe Ironside's a bit more of a John Marquis type, where he'll get a hold of things, he'll ruffle people up a little bit. George wants to play on the shoulder, so it's about having players that can put him in, that can join in with him. I think what you'll see this season, you'll see a difference in the team if Ironside's playing or Miller's playing. And what I mean by that is with the wide players, because Molyneux and Hursley have probably been used to being dropping in the pockets a little bit more. Just the other day I said to them, look, they don't do that in this team, you need to run it behind. So there's a bit of work to do with them in the summer. So I think you're right. I think George has really impressed me and Cliff in the opening 6-7 days, but so is Joe, so is Goodman. Listen, if they can get another one in to compete with them, we'll be really, really happy.
Great question, thank you. We move on to our next question. This gentleman here, what's your name, sir?
David. Grant, do you intend to start Joe and George in the same side?
There could be there could be times when we do that. I think if you know, and you remember how my teams play, my front three are my front three. It's not a one and two wide players. We want them to be really positive in how they play. We put a lot of emphasis on the midfielders, making sure they get across the pitch and cover the wide players, if you like, because we want to get the ball to them as quickly as we can so they can go and hurt people. So yes, there's a possibility they both could play together, but we've got really good options up there as well.
I suppose it's an ideal scenario having two for every position, isn't it? No matter what formation you're playing, it's all about the squad in depth, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's it. And what we've noticed of the last 6 or 7 days is there is a real hunger, and there's a real hunger for people to be in this team. And I think it's only going to create real good competition, create people wanting to train well, making sure they're knocking on my door that they've done everything they can to get in the team. And that's the conundrum you want as a manager and as a coach and assistant manager. You want people having, things to speak to you about to get in the team rather than not, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Okay, some good opening questions. We're looking further to the back of the room. Has anybody got anything on the chest they want to ask our manager and assistant manager tonight? Now is the time. It's a unique opportunity for you all as you're all gathered here this evening. Looking round, I'm drawing a blank down here, so I'll come back down here. Now this table is usually very vocal, and I'm not disappointed. Gentleman here, what's your name, sir?
My name's Kevin. It's not a question for Cliff or for Grant either. It's just really a thank you for first of all coming back. It's no secret that we've had a couple of very poor seasons for whatever reason, and probably at one point, although we were pushing for playoffs, 2 points off, we finished up. We're about 5 or 6 games to go, maybe more. Somebody might correct me. Before we were safe in this division. So really it's a thank you to the board. As I say, it's not a criticism of anybody previous. It's a thank you for the board for wanting you to come back and accommodating whatever they needed to do to get you back. But mainly it's a thank you for you coming back. I think we'll see, the regular attenders, which I assume most of us are anyway, we knew the games were bad, the results were bad for whatever reason. The benefit of having Cliff and Grant back, I think we'll actually again be able to see how poor we were. But that's history, it's about moving on. It's just a thank you to everybody that's accommodated yourselves coming back. Thank you very much.
Kevin, thank you very much for those kind words. We move on to this gentleman here now.
Hi, Grant, Les. Just since you come back, there's been a lot of media of interviews of the players and the staff you brought in, and we're getting film of the players training, which we've never seen that much before. It's absolutely great. But in one of your early interviews, you said you looked at it coming back here, when you left. It was job not completed. Are you looking to complete it this time?
Absolutely. I mean, look, I've got to
say yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be totally honest. I think what you'll find with me is I'm always honest, whether it's post-match, after-match. I'm always honest in what I say. And to be honest with you, one of the questions the board asked me when I met them is, why did you leave at the first instance? And my answer was that I've got a family. When they had, I can put it in the context, when somebody offers you quadruple your money, it's hard to turn down. And the opportunity to go and go manage in the championship was too much for me and Cliff to turn down. I'm back to try and earn that trust again from the fans, and I know it was hard. Some of the comments that I received when I left, but it's football. It's the nature of the business, unfortunately, and I'm here. I want to do well for this football club. I want to try and earn that trust myself and Cliff, the players, and we need your support this season. You know, we need everyone behind us, and there is going to be games when we don't perform. I'm big enough, I'm old enough, I'm experienced enough now to take criticism, but we just need to make sure that we don't let it last too long, and we rectify that. So I'm really pleased to be back here. Honestly, I'm so delighted to be back here. I'm feel energised again myself, Cliff, and we're looking forward to the season ahead.
Certainly echoing what Les just said there, as soon as your appointment was announced, the mood completely switched, not just in and around the city, but online, everywhere around the club, and all of a sudden there was the anticipation, the excitement of a new season. All of a sudden people then were buying season tickets again, and with football, my dad always used to say, success, comes in cycles, and you're going to have ups and you're going to have downs, aren't you? It's as simple as that in any sport, whether it's football, whether it's rugby, cricket or whatever. There's always going to be cycles of ups and downs. But do you feel a different mood? Do you feel a really good mood in and around the place and in and around the city, obviously, since you come back?
I mean, it's hard to tell because I've not been here, but speaking to some of the staff at the training ground, they feel there's a real positivity. I mean, I'm not here to speak about what happened over the last 2 or 3 years. That's not for me, and I know this job is very, very hard, and it's a bit of a it takes a bit of time to try and get it right. So there seems to be a real positive mood around the stadium, around the training grounds. I can feel it in here at the minute, the energy. So we just want to try and use that and use that to our favour, and hopefully have a really good start.
Excellent stuff. Okay, we're going to try and open the questions up once again. We've got another question here. Not that we're struggling because we're going back to the same man, but come on, you lot at the back, pull your fingers out.
Grant, I'm going to name 3 players here, and which one will you have back? John Marquis, Kieran Sadley or Malik Wilkes?
Wilkes.
John Marquis won.
We got an answer. It was a one-word answer, but you got what you asked for, so fantastic. Very honest of Grant there. Right, okay, let's see if we can prize a question out of anybody round the back here. Let's, everyone's putting their head down all of a sudden. I can't ask any staff members. Gavin, I'm not going to ask you anything now. Let's have a look. Have you got a question, sir? No. That's not the answer I was looking for, unfortunately. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go to this lady over here because she's always got something to say on this show. Anybody over here got a question?
Yeah, no.
Right.
I think it's next week, isn't it? You're off to Scotland for the pre-season. So what does that entail? Yeah, I know it's good for the players all to get to know each other, other new players.
Yeah.
What's the advantages that you're looking for?
I think the big advantage, the players get to live in each other's pockets closely. If I'm being honest, ideally we would have done it in week 1. That's what we've done previously, but there was plans in place, so we stuck by them. We're going up to a really good venue. We'll have 3 or 4 days up there. We'll travel together. So it'll be 4 or 5 hours together going up, and then the time that you spend there on the training ground. And it gives us as a staff as well a real good insight to watch the players and just sort of observe them, because within a group the personalities range all over the place, the moods, the expectations and everything else. So something I learned really early on in the coaching career is everybody's different, and it's important that you treat them differently, certainly within the confines of the framework that the manager wants to work towards. But up there we'll get plenty of training in, not from a physical point of view, but a lot of football training in, and we get to see how they act when they're away from their own home comforts, and they have to, I won't say survive in the hotel and stuff like that, but you certainly get to see who the needy ones are and who the independent ones are quite quickly. And
it's something to get used to when you travel on a Friday night and you stop over and like up there, you see how they react and whatnot. Yeah,
definitely see how they react, see who likes to room with who and who doesn't get on and who snores and who doesn't, because you soon find that out quickly. You come out, I'm not rooming with him again, I'm not going in with him again. So it's it gives us, like I say, it gives us a real insight to what we already know about them, and hopefully it improves their knowledge of them, which can help improve their performance then on a daily basis.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right, she's thought of something. I knew I couldn't keep her quiet for long. Here we go.
Put me on the spot. I guess my question is, I'll start it with, from my point of view, when it was announced that the 2 of you were coming back, it was the day of the supporters club dinner dance, and I think I'll speak for the people around me that went, we were all dreading it because no one was happy. We were all quite miserable. Our lowest league finish in well, since I was born. So it was quite a bleak state of affairs, but suddenly everyone was just buzzing. And I guess my question is, like, when I think of Grant McCann, I think of top end League One Championship. So yeah, why are you here? What brought you back?
I'll hand straight back to you.
Finish the job.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I feel like I owe something here. I feel like I owe the fans, I owe the football club something. That's was there an opportunity for me to go elsewhere in League One? Yes, there was. And myself and Cliff, but we feel like we owe the people of Doncaster, and we will do everything we can on an everyday basis, and we will demand of everyone at the football club to do the same. So, like I said, I'm pleased to be here.
Looking back to how it all came to an end, how it all finished, I mean, it's looking back how sickening it was to be that close to getting to a Wembley final by penalties, you know. Cheers, fellas. How close we were getting to that final, and it's a horrible way to lose a game like that as penalties, isn't it? But you know, you must look back on that season and think what a fabulous season it was, and what a great group of players it was you had at that time.
I still have the memory of Lee Boyer walking into our dressing room after the game and almost being, oh, well done Doncaster, you played very well. I think honestly I lost my head at that point. I think we
patronising.
Yeah, and I still have it, you know, and I've used it, I've felt it, I've bottled it up. We had a tremendous season, of course we did. I don't think anyone gave us an opportunity at Charlton after we lost the first leg, but it was probably the best we'd played all season, and I think it showed the character of that group of players that we had at that time. And it was just, yeah, it was a really horrible moment to lose the game. Everything went against us, the end, the penalties were taken. We found out after the game it wasn't a police decision, it was more the police were Charlton fans and things like that. So yeah, it wasn't a great day for us all. It was a sickening day. It took us a long time to get over it. But listen, it's in the past. We're looking for the future now, and we want to make sure we build for that.
But certainly from a professional aspect, that drives you on to not so much right or wrong, but again, for Leslie's word, to complete the job and maybe, you know, get out of this league as soon as we possibly can and come back and right what was a little bit of a wrong. I'm not making much sense here, am I? But you know what I mean in saying that it's been a long time since then, but it'd be great really to get us, you know, back up this season, you know, in a blaze of glory or whatever, but and come back and do that job.
Yeah, but look, this club's a championship club at the bare minimum, and one step first. You know, we need to get out of this league, and then we need to try and build to get out of the next. But it's not going to be easy. But we're here to give it everything we have, and we've got a real belief in ourselves. Hopefully that rubs off on everybody else and onto the group, and we can have a successful season.
About now, see if we can get some more questions beyond the halfway line. I'm getting pointed at. There's a young man around here. You can't see him. There's a lovely lad. What's your name?
Lucas. Last time when you were in Rovers, we get all the way to fourth round of FA Cup. Do you want to repeat something like this, or your main priorities will be getting back to League One?
So cup run obviously would be nice, wouldn't it, Grant? But obviously, you know, the bread and butter is the league. But I suppose winning games, progressing in the cup, it obviously feeds into the league as well.
I guess if I put it in priority, the league is the number one. FA Cup is massive for the football club in terms of the finances it brings in. We want to have a really good run in the EFL Trophy. I know it's not for everyone, but a day at Wembley is a day at Wembley, and it brings money into the football club, and it's a trophy that we can definitely win. And obviously then you've got the League Cup, which is the second game of the season at Hull. But I would say that in terms of order, that's the way we'd put it. An FA Cup run would be outstanding, but the bread and butter is obviously the league, and we'll become all out for that.
Excellent, great question, Lucas. Thank you very much indeed for your question there. Have we got anybody else for any questions up and around here? I'm desperate to get a question from down here at last. Goodness me. There we go. Right, speak up. What's your name?
Jamie. Obviously we've had, well, not had a lack of stability over the past few years, probably since you left, Grant, but my question is just, what is your long-term plan? Obviously the immediate plan is promotion, but what is the long-term plan?
Long-term plan, it's difficult to speak about long-term plans. Obviously we know what we want to do this season. if you held the gun to my head, I want to try and build something here. Like I just mentioned, I feel this football club's a championship football club. I want to try and build as much as I can. I want to try and get out of this league. I want to try and get out of the next one. I want us to be sustainable in the championship for 1 or 2 years, and I might be dreaming there, but then I have a dream of pushing towards the top end of the championship and getting out of it. You have to have aspirations like that, or else there's no point in being in it.
Okay, got another question here. Not too far to walk. Hello, what's your name?
I think we all get why you left before. I don't think there's anybody in this room that given the opportunity at your age, you know, family and come to the same. Just going back to what you just said, you know, I think, you know, most of us have been sort of 6-league championship at Christmas, you know, a few years ago at Sheffield, and so, you know, you start dreaming a bit. But we'd like to be back there, and you know, we seem to be constantly losing, you know, managers obviously because of resources and what we can offer. Are you in a position now that, as you just said, you'd like to see us back in the championship? If we get out of this league and then progress, and you know, are you in a position where maybe you could see yourself staying, you know, as a sort of financial thing, not quite as important as it was? You know,
yeah, I mean, yeah, I get your question. I mean, yes, I am. And I'm looking forward to, yeah, I mean, that's probably second nature now for me. It's more about this football club. It's more about making sure that we put a team on the pitch that the fans can be proud of, a team that's going to work, that's going to run. And like I said, it's difficult to talk about a long term, but you know, I want to stay here. I want to make sure we try and build. The results might not go well, and they may just, you know, turn around and get rid of you. So you don't know what's going to happen. But like I said, I'm delighted to be here. We're both delighted to be here, and hopefully we can have a real good push.
It's inevitable. If we do get promotion, win the league, there'll be somebody wanting you. You know, that's the way it goes, isn't it? And offer you more than probably we can. But you know, so I'm just wondering whether you could, whether they, you know, the desire to build and see us up there and enjoy, like Sean Driscoll and whatever, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. We've got a real chance now to build, and one step first, you know, is this league, is League 2, and we go from there.
Lovely. Lovely. Thank you very much indeed for your question there. Okay, we've just got a few more questions that we'd like from the floor this evening, and my host would like to put a question. There we go.
Firstly, thanks for coming today. It's really appreciated. I think reaching out to the community, what the club's done over the last few days and over the next few days is really appreciated. I can't remember it being done like that before, so that's a new one. Going back to the football itself, how do you think you're going to be setting up? What we're looking forward to seeing as the season goes on? What type of football we're looking at, aiming at?
Quite a couple of good questions within the question there. In terms of setting up and how we'll go about, going back sort of 5 years when I first met the manager and we spoke about coming together and me walking with him, walking alongside him, he made it quite clear to me from day one. He said, I play to win and I don't play to do anything else. So within that setup, we play to score more than the opposition. We play to take risks. Me as an ex-defender and always on the little bit cautious side was a little bit, okay, I need to get used to that. So without breaking down into the nuts and bolts of the team shape and the tactics and everything else like that, if we're drawing the game, we'll be planning to try and win it. That's how the manager works. I'm not wrong from that way. He might have me in his ear trying to twist him to do a little bit of something else, but hopefully what you'll see on the pitch, you'll see high energy, you'll see an enthusiasm from the players to want to put the ball in the net, and a real hard desire to keep the ball out of our net. And within that there'll be different types of formations and different sort of shapes within that, but hopefully you'll be sat on the edge of your seat looking forward to seeing plenty of attacking football. And listen, some weeks, some games, it may not just work. It just may not work for whatever reason. On the night, the opposition might be better, the referee might be useless, which could happen from time to time. That doesn't get me into trouble anywhere, Gavin, does it, saying that this early? But we'll have a real focus on us, and we've got a strong belief within us as a staff, and we'll impress it upon the players. If we do our job properly and we perform where we know we can perform, then the results shouldn't be far behind.
Excellent question, Rory. We are going to fit a final couple of questions in, and then we're going to give you the opportunity for a little bit of a meet and greet with Grant. A little bit of a picture, if you would like one. Anybody got a question here? Have we got a question here, or are we just? Are you trying to get to ask a question? Have you got a question, sweetheart? She is thinking, by the way, just in case you can't see, she's just mulling it over. Do you want me to come back to you? I'll come back to you. That's absolutely fine. Lovely. Oh, we've got a question here. What's your name, sir?
Paul. Can we see, we're a bit of luck seeing John Taylor, fit again, John Taylor? Hopefully.
I agree, hopefully. I mean, since we've been back, he's trained every day bar one. Tails is a great character. You know, I've had him before. It's been a difficult couple of years for him. Obviously, he's picked up numerous different types of injuries, and mentally he was a little bit unstable. But the first time we walked into the building, I told him how important he was. I said, look, Tails, you could be really, really important for us next season. You fit and firing is not only probably the best away player in this league, he could be the best in the league above. So he's been excellent since he's come back. He's trained really well. He trains 110%. He puts everything in. So touch wood, we should have him fit and available for the first game. You may not see him in the first opening 2 or 3 friendly games because we need to be careful with him a little bit. Not mollycoddle him, but just make sure we build him to maybe play some part in the York game. So yeah, he's looked great, and he'll be a huge asset. I know the fans not seen a lot of him, but he would be a massive asset for us if we have him fit available.
Certainly off the back of that, Grant, that is a player who's had absolutely terrible luck with injuries over the last 18 months to 2 years. He got himself right, he got himself back in, and then just a ridiculous fact of a player falling on him and then causing that knee injury. A player like John Taylor in League 2 could be a really, really good weapon for us, couldn't he?
Absolutely. I mean, he's everything you want in a away player. You know, he's direct, he's dynamic, he's quick, he's sharp, he works hard, he can get goals. You know, these type of away players cost a lot of money, and he's in our building. You know, so it's we need to make sure we get him up to speed. We need to make sure we look after him. I speak to him every day. He's almost like a 4th child at the minute, to be honest with you. Just speaking to him, making sure he's okay. But we'd love him fit for the first game.
Excellent. Right, now we do have a question from one of our more junior Rovers. And have you got it written down as well? Have you? Right, okay. Right, what's your name?
Cara.
Okay, Cara, lovely to meet you. I'm going to pass you the mic. You can speak as loud as you can and read your question out as slowly as you want, okay?
Who influenced you most as you became a manager?
Really good question. Really good question. I'd probably say my dad has been real driving force for me in terms of my playing career and my management career. He's always the first person to speak to after a game, apart from Cliff, obviously. Yeah, apart from Cliff. But after a game, I always speak to him. But I would say my dad, but I've had so many great managers over the years that I've worked for, and in management you learn, in coaching, you learn of all of them and you try and put your own stamp on it. But it's a really good question. I think like, family has always been a real driving force for me.
Can we have a big clap for Cara, everybody? That was an absolutely brilliant question. Well put, well written, well delivered. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, we're looking for another question. We're looking for one more question. And we're going to go back to Lucas, who asked a question earlier on, and he's going to pose our final question tonight.
Last season we've been poor defensively and in attacking part of the field. would you believe that we are be better this season?
You get that, Grant?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I think we will. I think we've got real good options in the attacking area. If you look at, Ironside, Miller, Molyneux, Hurst, Tyler Roberts, John Taylor, a lot of these players would get in nearly every team in League Two. So it's about getting that blend right, which 3 we play, sometimes which 4 we play. So it's getting the blend right, adding possibly one more to it, and then obviously the work comes from the training ground, so they understand how we want to play, how we're going to create chances, and how we're going to finish.
Excellent, thank you very much, Lucas. Okay, I'm going to just wrap things up with, obviously we've got a great turnout of fans tonight, Grant. Season tickets are going very, very well. I'm sure yourself and Cliff and all the rest of the group would love to see the Eco Power Stadium buzzing, and thousands of bums on seats as we approach the new season. I'm sure that would be something that would delight you.
I mean, you can just sense the buzz, and there's nothing better when the stadium's full. I think back to the FA Cup game against Crystal Palace and games like that, where it's even, and we just want the fans to come and enjoy what they see. Hopefully we can put a team on the pitch they can be proud of. The boys will, rub off that if they come out and they see the stadium fuller than it has been. But look, it's a byproduct, isn't it? It's what we do on the football pitch. Hopefully people can buy into it, and we get them to come and help us and support us. It's going to be a tough season, but we want to make sure it's a memorable one for everybody.
And of course it all gets underway this coming Saturday at Rossington. We're expecting a crowd of around about 2,000, which should be very, very cosy indeed.
Let's get here early.
I'm sure all the supporters' thoughts will be heard very, very clearly indeed. Okay, for the remaining time, ladies and gentlemen, Cliff and Grant are going to stick around for a few more minutes if you would like to just come and grab a picture with them, or a very, very brief chat. But in the meantime, please show your appreciation for our manager and assistant manager, Cliff Byrne and Grant McCann.